just put that on. So yeah, good evening. A few names that I haven't seen before. I was very lucky. Well, I was invited by Richard Vobes, if anybody knows him, and he has a channel. And last Tuesday, I went and had a chat with him about colour therapy. Actually, he's based in Worthing as well. So quite a few people have picked up on that. And come along to some of these free little events that I do on Zoom. So I thought tonight, because we've done quite a few of the shadow sides and we've looked at lots of parts of colour, I thought I would just do the power of colour. It's just a reminder when we're in February, where it has been raining here in the UK for people that are not in the UK. And it's drab and it's dull, and we're getting very excited to have spring coming forward. And those daffodils is definitely trying sorry, I'm just okay. I'm just going to put that in. Okay, so I've changed that to English. So, and driving around and seeing all the daffodils coming out and that start of spring, I thought I'd just spend this hour on the powerful vibration of colour so we can be reminded of what colour actually does for us and the power that it actually has. When I started my presentations, I always or have always started in the past with a particular slide which I quite like. I'm just going to omit somebody else, and I'm just going to show you this on my screen so that you can see this. So I always felt, and for those people aware of how important language is, sometimes I have felt that maybe this isn't as appropriate as it used to be. But I like the fact that we use the word human being, and in that human being, we have the hue, the HU. And hue is the quality of the colour that enables us to classify it, i.e. red, blue, green, yellow. And so therefore in the word human being, we actually have the hue in there. And then we have the man or the woman following the hue. And then we have the be for being, to exist or to live, and the ing, a living thing. So actually in our word of describing who we are, we've actually got the word hue in there, the word for colour. So the importance of colour and light is in an instant already here with us. So I'm just going to stop the share, because that's my sort of step into the fact that we are all light, colour, and we're all human beings, and therefore our hue is being used and projected around the consciousness that we visibly see. And when we talk about colours and the colour spectrum, we're talking about the quality of a vibration that is coming down into onto Mother Gaia and reflecting or refracting across, and our eyes consciously see that colour. So the impact of colour is around us everywhere. It's in what we breathe, what we see, what we drink, what we eat. It's just absolutely everywhere. And therefore, it has a much more impactful on our bodies and on our physical and our emotional and our mental and our spiritual being than just maybe something that we wear or just something that we notice. And so it's really how powerful colour really is. It is everywhere, in everything. And it's not just for what we wear or what we look like in the mirror, but it is that. So it's actually in the word of us, the human beings. And that starts to show that power of the colour, the power of the vibration. When we're looking at colour, or when we're looking into the aspects of colour, the key takeaway that I have, that I'm a member of the International Light Association, and I work with lots of people all around the world doing different things with light and colour. And one important member of our team is Dr. Jacob Lieberman, and he has worked as an optometrist and dealt a lot with light. And as the years have gone on, so he's been dealing with colour. And his book is called Light, the Medicine of the Future, if anybody wants to read it. It's quite technical, but it also has lots and lots of information of how powerful and how important light is for our actual beings. And he says, along with lots of other research, that 75% of what we look at is having an impact on our physical being. 25% is for our vision. So only 25% of what we're looking at actually has an impact on that colour. That colour is a visual that we see. So when we look at, say, an apple, and we'll say a red apple, then we see a red apple. And only 25% of that vibration is for our vision, but 75% of that colour is actually going down into our body and having an impact on us vibrationally. And depending on the colour and depending on the frequency will depend on what part of the body it actually impacts. And the thing with that I find when everybody says, well, you know, does red always do this, or does orange always do this? It's such a complex subject with colour, because it is the visual that we see, it is the vibration, but we have also been all brought up in different cultures, and the use of colour has been used throughout those different cultures, so we may have a different feeling about that colour. And a very good example about that is, say, for example, China, where red is a lucky colour. In India, in weddings, Hindu weddings, they would get married in red. But in the Western world, we tend not to see red as in that luck. We see it maybe sometimes as an overpowering colour, maybe quite angry, but we can also see it as a power of movement. So it's very hard when we're all working together to do the science, to see the impacts of each of the colours on the body, and it all having the same effect. But what we do see is the fact that that vibration will have a physical effect on the body. How we emotionally respond to it may be different from one person to another, depending, again, what we've learnt, where we've grown from. So just to give you some idea about that, and just a little bit, because I think most of you here have done your personality colours, which is from your date of birth, and have sort of followed me learning more about your personality colours. So from your date of birth, you're actually vibrating at a number, and that number can be related to a color. So when I'm talking about color itself in the healing process, it can be about the healing, but also could be about traits of that particular color. So, you know, for me, the power of red, you know, there is no doubt that red is a superpower as regards it actually starts to increase our bodily functions in terms of movement. So red automatically, when we look at it or we see it vibrationally, will actually increase our heart rates very slightly. And it will increase the blood flow around our body. So when I work quite a bit in old people's homes, where they're very stationary in chairs and they're suffering from cold feet, cold hands, because they're not actually moving their body very much, is the red is allows them to feel as though there's heat being contained. And so that is psychological as well as physical. So although it increases that little bit of the body to actually breathe a little bit faster, to feel that the heart rate is moving faster, it also automatically thinks of fire, of heat. So when we wear red socks and red gloves and red woolly hats in the winter, it's actually feeling warmer. And so it is a color that automatically heats us gently, not in an overpowering way, but can heat us gently. And if we look at the science, which we're not going to do particularly for this is I want this to be sort of a little bit of fun about the colors and what you could do with them. It's coming from the heat area of the spectrum. So red, all about the warmth. So in its physical, it actually then, as I say, increases the heart rate slightly, can increase the blood pressure slightly. It is a color that everybody can wear. Even if you don't think it fits with your skin type or your skin color, it's not a color that drains. Most people can wear red, whether they want to or not is another matter. And red has that wonderful emotional element because it's about passion and drive. And so therefore, well, and I bring this up a fair bit, I lived in Amsterdam for 7 years and I lived right in the corner of the red light district. And there were red lights outside for particular ladies or gentlemen, whatever you may have been looking for. And the red in that area, for example, is dealing with that area of the body. Red works with the feet, the knees, the base part of the body. And so it's actually, it can be a stimulus at that element. So from an emotional point of view, red and having red around gives you drive, gives you passion, it focuses you. It will allow you to focus on getting things done. It is the colour that you do with. So if you have a red personality, then you are able to be doing. You're busy. This colour makes things busy, it makes things happen, makes things work. So if you're feeling really down in the dumps, or for me, especially if at some point I'm feeling rather blue or a little bit down in the dumps, then I will wear red. And actually it has quite a profound effect to me. I can see that Kath put in there that love wearing it. It is an uplifting colour. So at this particular time of the year, in this February, which is always quite a difficult month for energy, this is a fab colour for that energy. The next colour up, which is also really good, and I'm never without it, is the orange. So orange, okay, and this starts to be the second color. So we're moving along the spectrum from the red into the orange, and we're getting a slightly faster frequency, a slightly lower, a shorter wavelength. But orange is such a fantastic color for joy, for happiness. It's that sunset color, you know, when you've got those later nights that are coming soon, and the sun is setting over the sea at the back, and you've got that strong orange in the sky, and it's just a feeling of, oh, you know, just joyous, some happiness. It's the color of freedom. So from a physical aspect, orange is all about, it stimulates the sacral area of the body. So that area is the lower gut. And in that area, it stimulates that lower gut. It does stimulate the base of the spine. It's all about movement as well with the red, but it's more than starting to be in that physical. Think about oranges themselves, the vitamin C that they produce. It's starting to actually produce and get your body feeling that it's starting to use those lower gut areas. And so it's really, really a good color for actually for stimulating, for feeling stimulus, for being it's not so much as the red is all about movement, moving forward, carrying on, being out there. Wearing red in sport gives you more energy. They've definitely done lots of background on that. But this orange is more about stimulus of joy, of fun, of music, of dance. So you can think about yoga. It's, for me, the color of India. So it's all about that freedom, free reign, and quite a lively color. Again, it's quite a hard color for us to wear because the skin tone is maybe not so easy. And what I've found with people over the years, it's the color that people will have, or for example, that will find the hardest to deal with. And it's the one that I always say, if you go past, say, a charity shop and you see an orange vase for flowers, then you can put that up in a room and just let the light reflect that color, and you start to bathe yourself in orange. Once that color hits your eyes and that color is part of you, then you're actually increasing your serotonin levels within your body. Now, there is, at the moment, there's a study going on in Berlin about the serotonin and the access to this color. But I've been using orange in my treatments over the last 25, 26 years. And for people that get very depressed, I use the orange. And it is a very powerful color for releasing. It's the color of letting go. It's the anti-grief color. So when you're releasing or detoxing or letting go of things in your life that emotionally affect you, then this color is a very, very powerful color to allow it to be released. So in February, you will, well, lots of people, I go into the supermarket and I have a You've Been Tangoed coat on, which is the orange, so that I'm shining that orange light all around for people who are feeling a little bit down. And the You've Been Tangoed sort of goes with that. And if it's difficult to wear, if it's difficult to see, then all you really need to do is actually have a little bowl of oranges, but so that you can see the orange. So maybe in a glass bowl or something that you're looking at. Because again, I'll come back to the power of color is that 25% is for your vision and 75% has an impact on your physical body. The other way, of course, you can introduce these vibrations is essential oils. So things like orange essential oil, Kath has just put that up there, but that also is a really good antidepressant. It's great for just bringing in joy, a feeling of release, and that feeling of letting go. So again, the food you eat. So you could have quite a bit of orange foods around, so the squashes, the oranges, that sort of thing, which will help then again to alleviate your mood. So I'm just time that I'm oh, that's great. So Rachel says she's been wearing orange today. Oh dear, and she still felt awful. Hopefully the impact might have been, Rachel, for you tomorrow, and not feeling quite so bad. I think this is a really hard week this week. I have to say I've struggled so far this week to find my oomph and enthusiasm. Another colour that can help with that though a little bit more is the yellow, and fantastic. This is sort of for the gut area. Instantly when you look at this colour, you get more saliva in your mouth, even if you don't realise it. So when you're going past those daffodil fields or on the curbsides that are just starting to show, then the yellow starts to actually stimulate the gut area of the body. So, and it's really powerful with the yellow. If you are feeling very clogged and quite sort of bloated or full, or just in that just looking at yellow will actually go down into the area of the gut that will release it. I always, as most nutritionists and people that are dealing with food, warm water with a little bit of lemon helps to release the toxins. So does looking at the colour yellow. And it's again a lighter. It's bringing in the light. It's a very reflective colour. So it's one that can light up anything. So again, quite hard sometimes to wear, but just lemons in a bowl will actually activate that part of our brain that will then work with that solar plexus area. So yeah, lots of bloating, anything that's going on in the gallbladder, anything that's going on in the liver, anything that's going on in that particular area, the yellow is really good. So sometimes for me, I will just actually lay with yellow across my stomach area and my solar plexus, and just to allow that energy to activate in that part of the body. It's also a really good colour for organisation. So in its emotional, where the orange is all about fun, joy, creativity and humour, the yellow is about using your mind. And it's really interesting to activate the part of the mind, the organizational part, by using yellow. If you notice, well, you maybe don't go to libraries anymore, but definitely when I was young and as a child, always in the library, or we went to the library a lot, and most libraries were painted yellow, a form of yellow. And places that do research are a form of yellow, because they allow the mind to be opened up and they allow clarity through. And that's where you could actually help with bloating. It's about clearing and cleansing and clarity. And so even if you have that colour around you, it will automatically help you to stimulate those thoughts of organization. So I find if I haven't got enough light, that is quite difficult for me. But I then put a yellow throw where I can see it, or cushions or whatever you want to put in there. And that stimulates me if I'm dealing with organizational stuff. A lot of the accountancy companies and things like that have their branding in yellow, so that it is about the tick list and the organization. But it's a really good color at this time of year where you're starting to, well, get maybe lighter days, that yellow can help that organization. Then we've got green, so then we come into a neutral area of the body. And as you can see, we're going up the body and we're using the colors in the chakra system that's used in Eastern, Ayurvedic, and in Chinese healing. So these are energy points along the body that are of different colors, and all of those of you that are healers already know that. And you know that the chakra system goes red, orange, yellow. Well, it's exactly, the colors are doing exactly the same thing, and you're using those colors in that system, but it's also the same in its wavelength. So the reds and the oranges are longer wavelengths and slightly slower. And as we go up, the wavelengths get shorter, faster, but cooler. So green, when we get to a green wavelength, it's neutral. And it sits right in the middle of the body. So this is the heart color. And it's a really powerful color for stimulating breath. Even if you don't realize it, when you look at this color, you will take in a much deeper breath and it oxygenate your body. And when you bring in that more oxygen, so then the blood's moving around the system, and it's actually putting more oxygen into the cells. So I feel that there's a good reason why nature is green around our Western world, but green in lots of parts of the world, and it depends what that green signifies. But we always say, if we're going to de-stress, let's go for a walk, let's go and be out in nature. And that's also, you can do it by actually being with the green. So I have quite a few clients that have children that maybe have asthma and have problems of breathing. So their bedrooms in a light green is actually quite good for that breath, and maybe a darker green as a blanket on the bed. It is such a neutral color. It's all about the balance. And I've just been talking to a lady in America who has created a laser light, which she uses acupressure points on the body, and she uses the green to release the trauma. So it's a green laser which deals mainly with PTSD. And it releases the trauma from those parts of the body where they're stored that create the PTSD. So green is always a color, and I found it always, which allows us to breathe, that is a natural healer. It's a natural detoxer. So it's very good around anything that is a problem with that needs clearing out or cleansing. And I mean, I find it quite interesting because I started my color journey in marketing, and companies like Virgin that are red, all that dynamic, fast movement, Vodafone, they're implying speed. I think post office, but then I think of Postman Pat in his car, not quite so fast, but getting from A to B, moving around. The orange is much more about travel, EasyJet, escaping, having creativity. The yellow's about the accountants, the number crunchers, the project managers, engineering companies. And then the greens are all about, you know, the what's good for our health. So a lot of companies have moved to green logos, so they're more green, and therefore they're actually using that sort of balance and harmonious aspect of this color to project themselves. And it is, when you're in green, it just allows you to breathe. And as an emotion, it's a calmer. So I did a project 17 years ago with a team of doctors, and we took people's blood pressure for 2 weeks every day, and then we put them in in different coloured rooms that were surrounded with different colours. And we found that in the green room, the blood pressure decreased much quicker and slightly lower than anything else. The other colours were white, then there was a blue, and then there was like an orangey, more of a stimulus, and just wanted to see how that worked. And the green decreased the blood pressure. So if you're feeling uptight, quite stressed, then the green can actually help you to breathe and bring in calm. It's such a great colour for that calmness. And then another colour that can is, as we move up the spectrum, to the blue. And blue definitely brings in calm. It is the world's favourite colour, because we're a blue planet. We look blue from outside, and because most probably we refract more sea than we do land. So we see much more of the blue. And blue is also one of the easiest colours on our eyes. It's not reflected, so it softens and it's easier for us. And so with blue, we find that we're able to, and it's making me cough because it's all about the throat area. Excuse me. So it's all about what we say and how we speak. And so blue is a very gentle, healing, soothing color. It's antiseptic. So it actually has an effect where it can cool us down and bring a much more antiseptic feel and actually heal around sore throats. It's a fantastic healing color for that coolness. So if anything is inflamed, then blue is really good to have to bring down that inflammation. Blue also can be about truth and integrity. And it allows the communication to actually speak with that truth and integrity. Personalities that are blues sometimes could be a little direct because it just comes out. But this powerful color, again, is soothing, it's gentle. The only problem I find with it sometimes is because we love it so much, we wear it a lot, or we have it around a lot. And that can sometimes make us feel a little too blue, and we're not moving forwards enough and using the warmer colours. But when you add turquoise to this, it's adding the white, it's a higher, slightly, it's lighter. So you can have, in the spectrum, the amount of blue is quite wide. And I think that's quite good as well. And of course, you know, the NHS and all of our health systems have their blue logos, and it's projecting that feeling of safety, security, and healing within it. And its power is that it is gentle. So it can be a very powerful color to wear when you just want to not be seen, but not disappear, to be able to communicate well. So it's a very good color. I notice, you know, in school uniforms and things like that, there's quite a lot of blue. So it's about keeping it cool and keeping it gentle, and all about the communication. The next form of blue, though, excuse me, I'll just have a quick sip, is the more royal blue, the indigo. And this now leads up to the third eye area. So this darker blue is I mean, I have used this quite a lot in my treatments for people that have had issues with veins, with blockages, with clots, that sort of things. It's a really, really powerful colour for unclotting, and actually going really, really deep. It's a colour that takes you deep. So it actually goes down in a really deep cellular level where it can actually deal with unblocking certain things. It is a very powerful color for intuition. So my first job was with IBM, and I had to wear a navy blue suit, and I realized that that gave authority, but also it's about the intuition and the ability to actually connect through your third eye area, your pineal pituitary glands. It's very good for activating and supporting those. It's actually releasing some of the stuff before it goes up into the crown, and it's cataracts, all those sort of things. It is very powerful for. And it looks after the ears and the eyes. It's a little bit like it goes so deep where I've used this color with people that have had earache and things like that, and it's actually released then the tubes all the way down and unblocked those. I'm working with a couple of people on tinnitus and seeing whether this as a color can work with tinnitus well, because it again it's sort of at that much deeper level. When you wear this color, it is an authority color, and it's very powerful. And it was the color of the law and justice and fairness, and it was the police force as well as the barristers and the lawyers, and now mostly that is black, which is not a color per se, but just the absence of light. But this is a very powerful color. If I can't sleep, I've got a velvet blanket in this, and I go and lay that over my bed and tuck myself underneath, even though my sheets are white. And then it allows me to just feel really calm and secure, and allows me to go off to sleep. So I found it a very useful color for sleeping. And then we go to the violet, which is the top. Mine's a bit more purpley than violet, but is the crown area. And physically, this is the shortest wavelength and the coolest color. Although it has elements of red, but hitting into that ultraviolet area. And this I use a lot with people with migraines. So it's the head stuff. It allows that release from the anything that is going on around the head where there's too much thinking, and actually having to release it. But it's a very powerful color to allow inspiration to come in. It's, if people that dress sometimes in violet will channel music and channel all sorts of information that they don't know where it comes from. It's a very inspired color. And as they say in the poem, you know, wear purple, when you get old, you can get away with it, but not so much as younger. But it's because it's crown, it actually balances the left and right hand brain. So it's not doing everything in the left side or the right side, and it starts to balance that out. So it creates empathy. It creates a feeling of understanding. And it's used, I mean, again, I always think of aubergines when people say, well, what's violet color? but you know, you could get away with maybe blackberries, aubergines. There are quite a few of Violet different foods around that have that more sort of inspirational element to them. It is a powerful color, but it's also quite gentle. So it's very sensitive. So when people come with the violet, then there's a lot of sensitivity around, and it's quite a high vibrational frequency. In color therapy, we have 2 more extra colors. We have 9. So this brings in the magenta that comes in at number 8. And this is just touching on the ultraviolet colors, but it's a color that isn't in our visible spectrum. It's 2 parts red, 1 part blue. So in a way, it brings the red from the base to the blue of the throat, and then surrounds the whole body. So it's used as an aura color, and it connects very much to transformation, change. We're in it this year. 2024 adds up to the number 8, and we're in this color. So, you know, if you're already feeling quite chaotic and there's lots of change happening and lots of things happening, it is because, well, from a purely color perspective, we're in the magenta energy. And magenta, this is the red, move forward, and blue, stand, observe, and watch. Red, move forward, blue, stand, observe, and watch. And so therefore is a color that deals with negotiation. So they call it the entrepreneur's color, because it's the people that actually want to use the negotiation to step forward. So it's doing and then speaking, doing and speaking, or observing and speaking. So it has a lot of power in it. What I like about this color in terms of it's grown up. This is a color that sits above the body, so it's quite a grown up color. It sees things from a loftier perspective, so it sees everything all out from a top down view. Whereas when we're using the other 7 colors, we're in a more physical realm. Here we're starting to be a little bit outside of that physical realm and seeing things from a loftier, as I say, perspective. And because you cannot get lenses in this color particularly, I don't use it as on lamps as a color. I use it around the head. So if I'm meditating, I may put this around and allow me to have a loftier view from my meditation. And it allows the energy, that vibration, to feel loftier, to see things slightly off planet. I think I can say that, a little bit more off planet. And then the 9th one is gold, and it's a little bit of all the colors together, but was given as gold. The system that I learned with this is it sees it as gold and not white, but it's right up in the ether, so it's a much higher color in terms of it really is the frequency that is they call the 9th chakra the stellar gateway. So it's the gateway into another dimension, another area, connection to source, whatever you want to see it as. But it's the stellar gateway taking you up into that. So again, this has a very lofty viewpoint. And in healing, it's for me is the overall healer. So I use gold with people that want to see the bigger picture, that are going through maybe a crisis and are looking for unconditional love. It rules unconditional love. In it is all the colors. that you can shower yourself with. It's coming from the divine, from the source. And in that, it is the pure light. And maybe, just maybe, it would be just white light. But in the color therapy we use is gold. And again, this is not a color that I use necessarily for the physical all the time. It's color that I use around the head to open up the energies, to see or access loftier dimensions. And you can do that and have gold around. I know when I wear this color, or I wear it as my scarves mainly, it allows me to just go off and be in a safe place, come up with new ideas, feel that I'm being protected, feel that gentle energy, and has that very sort of powerful effect on me in terms of, well, I am a 9, I'm a gold, so it connects for me to remind myself what it is that I'm actually doing and who I am. So this gives that energy, the power of that energy. And just to sort of complete that, when we've got colours like magenta for this year, its complementary colour is green. So if you're feeling very magenta-ish and very up, looking down, and a lot of negotiation and a lot of transformation taking place, then the green brings you straight down into your heart energy, straight down into that physical heart, into balance. And when I use gold, I also use green with gold, so that there's a direct line straight into the heart. So bringing directly down into the physical body. When I'm using red, its complementary colour to balance it out is blue. And you can do it, oh, sorry, that's magenta. When I'm red, look at the right colours, I do it with blue. You can use blue and green, but it sort of reminds me of a time of Christmassy, and I feel that the blue vibrationally works better with the red. And then to counteract the orange and the indigo, they are my 2 favourite when we're looking at complementary colours. That orange, which is all about freedom and happiness and joy, and the indigo that takes us into our third eye, our pituitary, our pineal. And then with the violet, I have the complementary colour to that is the yellow. The yellow being the solar plexus, the connection to the mind, very much the left brain, the detail, and the violet or purple violet brings in the right hand brain, allowing it to balance up and to bring in inspiration. So each has its own complementary as well. And the power comes in by balancing them. And there are no greater powers, greater colours than each other. They are all as important as each other. And each have a physical, emotional, and mental and spiritual aspect to them. But in an hour, I can't, it's a lot to give you. But what I wanted to do was just give you an hour's taster of just some of the colours and what they are capable of doing. For me, I have a couple of books. One is Everyday Colour, and that tells you about the colours. And then one is Your Colour Personality, and that tells you about that. So this is the Everyday Colour one. What I'll do is at the end of this session and finish recording, I will send you all a link to this, so you've just got it as general information. But I'm going to run a small course which is an hour and a half on which per session for 4 sessions, which gives you a little bit more in depth. If you're really into color, then I run 1-to-1 on Zoom or face to face on that whole area right up to color therapy. But I do freebies every month to just try and get people thinking about color. So it's just, you know, the basics back again. So hopefully you will have enjoyed that. Rachel, wait a minute and I'll give you your colors, but I'm going to stop recording.